My name is Caitlin Nix, and I'm a 7th grade English teacher. So the capacity that I've been working with ELLs, that would be in the classroom, obviously, 7th grade classroom, language arts, also during ELT.
My name's Ashley Surratt, and I'm an 8th grade math teacher. So my English language learners have been in an 8th grade math classroom. There have been a variety of different levels, from brand newcomers to some that have been here 1 to 2, even 3 years.
My name is Angie Howard, and I teach 8th grade Georgia Studies. I have had ELL students since the beginning of the school year, and then I did have a new student to join us recently, and I have all 3 in my first period.
My name is Daniel Gann. I teach 8th grade physical science. The last 3 or 4 years I've had ELL students in all my classes pretty much. I typically have 1 class a day that has a higher concentration of ELL students, especially students who are kind of new to the ESOL program. But other classes, I usually have 1 or 2 students who've tested out in almost every class.
I am Sarah Ellen Beavers, a 7th grade math teacher. So this is my first year working with ELL students, and I am a math teacher, and I have them for 1 class period.
Okay, my name is Elizabeth Barnes, and I'm an 8th grade math teacher. So I worked with ELL students last year when Miss White came into my room. I was a 6th grade math teacher at the time, and she pushed into one of my classes, and we had a group that we worked with.
My name is Wesley Cooper, and I am the academic coach at Morgan County Middle School. I have not been working directly with ELLs, but I've been working with teachers who are teaching these students and trying to support them, and a lot of them moving in, trying to make sure that they have what they need to be successful.
My name is Danielle Bruce. I'm an 8th grade ELA teacher. I have been working with ELL students for the last few years, this mostly in 8th grade ELA. This is the first year that I have had 3 non-English speaking students, which has come with certain challenges. The biggest challenges that I have faced is that they do not speak any English, so being able to communicate with them has been difficult.
One of the biggest challenges working with ELLs is the language barrier. I don't speak English. I do speak English, sorry. I don't speak Spanish, and they don't speak English, especially when I have a student this year, for example, who doesn't speak any English upon entering the classroom. This also lends to, when we're trying to find resources in the classroom, trying to find something that is in Spanish or in whatever language that they need.
One challenge would definitely be communicating with parents. Even though some of the students may be developing their own English, the parents are still, not immersed in it like the students are. So communicating with the parents, finding resources, making sure that I'm taking that language barrier away from them, and making sure I'm actually getting what they know.
I think they're hesitant to ask questions or to ask for help, but they are able to do so, and I'm able to give them support, but it helps to have the textbook or the assignment, and we can communicate a little bit better with them, showing me what they are able to do versus what they need help with.
Understanding or knowing when they understand, or knowing when they know what to do, and really just that assessment piece, really knowing where they're at, I think.
I definitely do not have super strong language skills outside of English, so I've had to learn how to incorporate their language into my classroom, and have found various ways to do that, and also use Miss White as a tool in my classroom often.
The other thing that has been a challenge for me is that they all come from three different educational backgrounds, so their understanding of Spanish varies. So they might be able to read, some of them might be able to read on grade level if I give them a Spanish text, but some of them cannot. So that's been probably the 2 biggest challenges that I've had.
A lot of the time my EL students were fine with just calculations with numbers, but when you actually were trying to figure out what to do in a word problem, it was the comprehension and understanding what to do in the problem.
I don't have a great background in any other languages, so that was definitely a challenge, but my biggest area that I had expertise in before becoming an academic coach was math. And I think, I'm always thinking about how do students have, where are they at in their understanding of math. And I think that it's challenging to know where their understanding is in math if you're not giving them the information and the assessments in their home language.
There has been a bit more communication between me, the teacher, and these students. I think the language barrier has not been as difficult as it was in the beginning.
A couple of aha moments that I've had in reaching those students is finding resources that can translate. So Delta Math is a resource that we use, and it is allowing them to translate into their home native language. So now I'm really learning what they know and not getting whether or not they know the language.
I've kind of made some breakthroughs in like knowing how to use technology to kind of leverage that communication back and forth, making it easier to communicate with students what I need from them and what they need from me.
Oh, okay, so when reaching these students, I have found that one of the best things to have in the classroom is someone who speaks the same language as them. And so peer partners have been wonderful and have been a lifesaver.
It was cool to watch students kind of learn to pick out certain key phrases and words that they could use to help solve the problems instead of trying to focus on the entire word problem itself.
When I'm able to really sit down and I do a Google Translate on my phone and have a conversation with them, like, you know, just to be able to see them light up, because I know that it has to be extremely overwhelming for them. They're coming in and they don't understand anything that I'm saying or anybody else is saying. So just being able to try to get to know them a little bit better has also been great as well.
Adapting to knowing that they're really learning the culture and they're really learning a new way of life, and so giving them grace and just trying to help them bridge that gap first before we try and work so much on education.
Because it's just me in the room, I don't have a ton of like outside help from other teachers. Is getting students who can speak a little bit of their language to be able to help. I try to kind of rotate those students so they're not having to help somebody every day, but at least get some help there. And then, of course, technology, kind of building in that communication piece, making it easier to communicate.
They prefer that we have close proximity, and then it's more of a small group conversation than it is an open class discussion or question and answers. So and they sit near the front, near my desk, so that makes it a little bit easier for them to communicate with me, and as well as me communicating with them.
I think just being able to pull them in small groups to kind of help them decide what keywords and key phrases to use, marking up the word problems with different symbols, highlighting, and just using different tools to help them see what to do to solve the problem.
I think being able to talk to other teachers about what's going really well and what's not, and what we see and what the students' strengths are and areas for improvement, but just being able to have that collaborative conversation consistently and ongoing. I think also having a strong connection with the parents that we can communicate in their home language has been really helpful too, and just using the expertise of everybody on the team to support the student.
All right, something that's really helped in the classroom is having an ELL teacher available, as well as having students who speak the same language.
The assets that ELLs bring to the classroom is definitely allowing our students here who have never ventured outside of our county to know other cultures, for sure. Letting them see that what they've always known is not necessarily true around the world, and that it's okay to have different backgrounds.
They help me understand as a teacher where sticking points in the curriculum might be, where things that might be complicated that maybe to me seem easy because I've been learning it and learning that language for a long time, where even for native English speakers, physical science has a lot of vocabulary and difficult concepts that come along with a lot of words. And so helping me kind of simplify things, I think helps everybody.
They bring a new perspective, and I think it's changed the way that I try to teach my students to connect with everyone. It allows me to try to make more meaningful conversations and be intentional with getting to know them, just like I would all students.
They kind of provide a different perspective. I think being able to kind of look at those key words and phrases to be able to kind of break apart a problem and see what's important kind of shows everyone else to, hey, we can break this apart, we can learn in just looking at these key words and phrases.
ELL students bring diversity to my classroom. And I think it provides a little bit more empathy from me as well as my students in understanding the situation that they are in as far as being completely engrossed in this culture that they really don't know as much about.
It's a different approach to what they're seeing. I think they've got different experiences, a different past, a different culture, and so bringing that in and being able to have a different lens to see things.
ELLs bring so much to the classroom. They come from different backgrounds, different cultures, different experiences. Many of them also, before they leave the school system, they're bilingual, and that's one of the coolest things ever.
One thing I'd like to add is I'm just grateful for our ELLs and for our teachers who specifically support those students. I think it's helped me to become a better educator, and I'm very grateful that we have an opportunity to serve those students.
Take a little bit more time out with those students to get to know them in the very beginning, which is something I did not do and wish I had of.
I think I learned a lot last year working with Miss White and being able to kind of see how she worked with the EL students in our classroom, and being able to look at working with the EL students in a math perspective. I think a lot of the time you think about it with English and reading, but being able to see, okay, what can I do with comprehension of word problems, and being able to understand the math computations as well.
We need the support, especially for those of us that have gone through the training but yet have not been able to practice that training to the degree that we need to.
Just be willing to accept the challenge. Sometimes it feels overwhelming to know how to reach them. It's a different way of teaching, but figuring out what works for them and then being willing to make changes to help them be successful in your classroom.
This has really been a learning experience for me, teaching 3 non-English speaking students this year. It has opened my eyes a little bit to a lot of different things, but I mean, I've enjoyed it. It's definitely been a challenge, but also been rewarding at the same time.
And then is there anything else you would like to add?